Good morning, everybody. I'm back. Aloha. Buenos dias. Bonjour. Guten Tag. G'day, mate. Hey, from Georgia. How is everybody doing this morning? Hey, from Wyoming. Right, Patterson Air Force Base was that? Cool. Texas. What's going on? Let's talk about U.S. Attorney John Huber. Oh my gosh. I am so amused at the way that the media is handling this. And even the way the conservative media on Fox is handling this. So I'm going to play for you all a short clip from an interview with Laura Ingraham and Rudy Giuliani last night. Now, give you some backstory on this. So the Attorney General, William Barr, does his interview, and it's a very good interview. I read the transcript of it. I haven't listened to the entire interview yet. But there's a part of this interview that I am particularly interested in. I think you should be interested in it too. It has to do with the role of U.S. Attorney John Huber, which has been the subject of much debate lately. A lot of people think that Huber has been doing nothing. He has been in the background, not really doing anything. Those of you who follow Q has told us, oh no, Huber has been very active, he's been hard at work, very busy, investigating some very important things. And so we get Attorney General Barr to weigh in on exactly what Huber is doing. Now, I'm going to let you listen to an audio clip of what Barr said about Huber. And then we're going to listen to Rudy Giuliani interpret what Barr said and sidestep a whole bunch of things that are relatively important. So, here we go.
What's going on with the Inspector General's report? What's going on with the other investigation John Huber is doing out in Colorado? And we want to hear from him on what he said there. Let's watch.
Huber had originally been asked to take a look at the FISA applications and the electronic surveillance, but then he stood back and put that on hold while the Office of Inspector General was conducting its review. So he has not been active on this front in recent months, and so Durham is taking over that role. The other issues he's been working on relate to Hillary Clinton. Those are winding down, and hopefully we'll be in a position to bring those to fruition.
Okay, now I don't know if you heard that, but Barr said Huber was originally tasked to work with Horowitz on the FISA investigations. And he stood down, kind of took a back seat on that, and waited for Horowitz to complete his own investigation on FISA abuse. Barr then said Huber has been working on things related to Hillary Clinton. Those are winding down, and hopefully we'll be in a position to bring those to fruition. All right? So they took Huber off of the FISA investigation, and he has been investigating things related to Hillary Clinton. Well, what would that be? What would a U.S. Attorney's Office be doing investigating things related to Hillary Clinton? Well, when she was Secretary of State, there was this little transfer called Uranium One, where we sold 20% of North American uranium to Russia, and Q has told us a lot of that uranium, some of that uranium ended up in Iran and Syria, helping them continue their nuclear weapons development. And Q has also suggested that John McCain was involved in that process of diverting uranium to Iran and Syria. which is why a lot of us do not see John McCain as a hero, but as a traitor. So Barr tells the world that Huber has been working on things related to Hillary Clinton. Uranium One is one of those issues. And I would say about Uranium One, this goes back to the reign of Eric Holder as Attorney General, and Robert Mueller was the FBI director. Mueller, Holder, Hillary was Secretary of State. There are 12 different people in the government at that time, the CFIUS panel, that had to sign off on the Uranium One deal. High-level people, Defense Department, I think CIA at the time, I don't know who it was, DOJ, FBI, I think Treasury, possibly, heads of a lot of different agencies all had to sign off on this Uranium One deal. They were briefed on it and they all signed off on it. And Mueller was head of the FBI at that time. I'm telling you, this is going to take down a lot of powerful people. When Uranium One comes out and it is exposed, it is going to expose corruption in Canada. It is going to expose the pay-for-play between the Russians and the U.S. at that time. It is going to take down a lot of people. And that is one of the issues, one that I believe Huber has been investigating, related to Hillary Clinton. The other one is the Clinton Foundation itself. There's a lot of, I did a very deep dive into the Clinton Foundation a couple of years ago. It is a spider web of corruption, blackmail, pay-for-play, extortion, you name it. And if Huber has been investigating the Clinton Foundation, and I believe he has, there is going to be hell to pay for a lot of corrupt people. So Barr said, those investigations are winding down, and hopefully we'll be in a position to bring those to fruition. Okay, nice flowery words. What does that mean exactly? Hopefully we'll be in a position to bring those to fruition. Well, Huber is a U.S. attorney. What do U.S. attorneys do? They enforce the law. They investigate and prosecute criminal behavior. When Barr says we'll bring those to fruition, he is saying, hopefully soon, we're going to be prosecuting some people. All right? That's what that means. Now, the interesting thing in this interview with Laura Ingraham and Rudy Giuliani is Giuliani basically sidesteps the entire Hillary Clinton thing, doesn't mention it at all, simply goes after the FISA thing and says, oh, I was a U.S. attorney. You would never stand down from something like this FISA abuse. He shouldn't have done that. He should have gone after the fight. He shouldn't have taken a back seat. That's just inappropriate. Completely ignoring anything to do with Hillary Clinton. All right. I'm going to let you listen to this clip. Hang on a sec. Let me move the microphone here. It'll help a little bit, I think.
Wow.
I appreciate the honesty and also the delivery of the Attorney General, who I have enormous and increasing respect for. But I got to tell you, as a former U.S. Attorney and a former Associate Attorney General who ran the criminal side of the Justice Department, I would not stand down for an Inspector General's investigation over a criminal investigation in a million years. There's no way Huber should have gotten out of the way for the Inspector General. Sorry. Criminal
Why would they do
investigation.
that? That was done before Barr, though, right? Would that have been done before Barr?
Barr, I can't imagine. He's being very diplomatic.
Yeah.
I watched his face when he said that. And he's a professional. And he said that with a certain degree of sarcasm. I'm sure he won't admit it. He doesn't have to. No way should you stand down with a criminal investigation of the magnitude of what's involved in that.
Yeah.
Perjury to the FISA court on a national security court. I helped to establish the FISA court, by the way, with a friend of yours, Joe DeGeneres.
Oh, yeah.
He was the first lawyer for the FISA court, and I helped to write it when I worked for President Ford and Attorney General Levy. And what they did to the FISA court, even negligence is an outrage, because it is such an intrusion into our privacy. It's like, you know...
Okay, so negligence is an outrage. And perjury, Oh my gosh, how could Huber ever stand down from perjury and negligence? These are serious things, people. These should never be avoided. These should never be swept under the rug. Perjury and negligence, right? That is what Rudy Giuliani is telling us. That if Huber thought it was better for him to pursue Hillary Clinton, Uranium One, global corruption, human trafficking, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, and pay for play, extortion, bribery, blackmail, getting rid of political leaders, regime change. No. There's perjury, and there. I was astounded listening to Rudy Giuliani talk about this last night, because he knows damn well exactly what he's from New York. The Clinton Foundation is based out of New York. I don't know if it's Eastern District or I think it's Southern District of New York is actually the district that is responsible for investigation of the Clinton Foundation. Clinton Foundation has been under investigation for a long time. Rudy knows exactly what the Clinton Foundation is involved in. He knows it. They have either, Sarah Carter, John Solomon, Rudy Giuliani, they've all either been told, you are not talking about this. Do not talk about the Clinton Foundation. Do not talk about Uranium One. Don't mention John Huber. If you do, you tell people that Huber is doing nothing. Either they have been told to ignore this, or they are legitimately, truly all ignorant of what Huber is doing. And you can pick whichever option you want. I listened to this interview and I listened to what Solomon says and I'm listening to what everybody else says about Huber, and I keep thinking, we're being gaslit. They are gaslighting us and they are not telling the truth. Now, whether they have been instructed not to tell us the truth or whether they are truly ignorant of what's going on, I don't know. I don't believe Huber is doing nothing, because Barr himself said Huber has been investigating things related to the Clintons. All right. The idea that Huber is doing nothing, has been doing nothing, you can throw that out the window, because Barr confirmed he has been investigating things related to the Clintons. So either these people are gaslighting us and they have been told not to tell us the truth, or they are truly ignorant and nothing has been leaked to anyone in the press about what Huber is investigating. And even after Barr comes out and tells us Huber is looking into things related to the Clintons, Giuliani still doesn't say anything about it. All right, so look, we are in an information war. We have been in an information war for a long time. The problem is we have not had access to good information. Most of the information that we have had access to has been fed to us by talking heads on TV and radio. They get the information and they give it to us, right? Even shows like InfoWars, Alex Jones. The concept of Alex Jones's show InfoWars is the idea that there is a war going on over information. It's a war over your mind. It's a war over the public narrative. And if you have good information, you can make good decisions and you'll understand what's really going on in society. But with people like Alex Jones wants you to rely on his sources. And as he claims, he has great sources. Well, he may or may not have great sources. We don't know. But the people that we listen to in the media, whether it's Dan Bongino or Rudy Giuliani or Joe DeGeneva, these people, they're relying on sources. They're relying on their sources to give them information. And then we are relying on them to reliably tell us what's really going on. It's becoming apparent, more and more apparent, that some of these people are not exactly telling us the truth. The entire idea of Q's operation is based on the premise that we have been lied to, that all sources of information in the media have been lying to us, deceiving us. And Q has been telling us and training us for a year and a half to do our own research, find our own information, and make up our own mind, make up our own decisions. Research for yourself, think for yourself, trust yourself, okay? Sheep know more, because we've been sheep, and we have been led down a path that is giving us a lot of bad information. Even good people have been giving us bad information because they have been told that they need to hide certain bits of information for their agenda. And whatever the agenda is, whether it's Trump's agenda or whatever, it simply realize that we have been not told the truth. Now, I had a dream last night, and in the dream, I saw these documents coming. And I was looking at these documents, and I knew, I had a sense that they were important, but I didn't have any context for them. I couldn't fit them into a framework. I didn't know what their relevance was, and I didn't understand why they were important when they first arrived. So I just kind of observed these documents, and then another document showed up, and another document showed up, and I was reading that, and I was observing, and I was trying to analyze, what do these documents mean? What is the context? What is the relevance? What information are these documents imparting to me? And more and more and more documents kept coming. The more documents that showed up, the more I began to understand the context and the relevance and the importance and what the information was that was being imparted to me, who it was coming from, and why it was important. All right. That dream, I think, symbolizes what we are about to see in the coming weeks. We know that the president has given the Attorney General the authority to declassify whatever documents he feels are necessary to help the public understand what has been going on with corruption, abuse of power in government. All right? And the Attorney General is going to declassify and make public text messages, emails, government documents, reports, research articles, whatever he finds in the CIA, in the FBI, Department of Justice, Department of Energy, Department of State, Defense Department. Barr has been authorized to go into all those agencies, scour and pull out all the documents that he wants and make them public. Which means we are going to get an avalanche of information that is going to be coming out, and we're going to have to make sense of it. And we already know, we've got people out there who are telling us what this information means, and they're not telling us the truth. All right, Gateway Pundit yesterday. Gateway Pundit runs an article about John Huber after Barr's interview. Gateway Pundit runs an article, and their headline is, Attorney General Barr says John Huber's investigation never even started. Now, I played you the clip from Barr on what he said about Huber. Did Barr say Huber's investigation never started? No. That is a narrative that certain people have been pushing for the last 2 years. Huber is doing nothing, and his investigation never started. He's never interviewed anyone. That's the narrative that people have been pushing. Barr said Huber is investigating things related to the Clintons, and his investigation is winding down, and they're expecting that to come to fruition. That is what he said. All right. We have a ton of information coming, and it's going to come like a waterfall. We're going to be drinking out of a fire hose. I want you to be prepared for this. We need to be prepared mentally for an avalanche of documents, an avalanche of information, and an avalanche of disinformation, because the people who are going to be on camera, on their podcasts, on their videos, interpreting all this information are going to be giving us They've already proven that they're going to be giving us bad information. Some of it will be right, some of it will be wrong. I am strongly suggesting that you learn how to understand context, understand relevance, and piece things together. I'll do the best that I can. And there are good people on Twitter and I retweet their threads, Brian Cates, Undercover Huber, Technofog, Rosie Memos, there's Dawson Field. There's a lot of people on Twitter who are very capable of looking into these documents, getting to the truth without an agenda. And as I find those threads, I try to retweet them to give people some good information, give some good context, people who know what to look for, right? I'm going to be doing my own research. You should be doing your own research. I think the time is coming when we're going to need to rely on good sources of information a lot more heavily in the future. There is going to be so much information coming out between the Inspector General report, the declassification, all the investigations that are coming out. We are going to be inundated with information. And we're going to be inundated with narratives. The mainstream media is going to have its narratives. Even Fox is going to have its narratives. I thought it was highly suspicious that Fox preempted, kind of cut out Hannity's discussion last night, his little town hall or his panel interview with DeGeneva and Solomon and Carter and all those people for the shooting. It's very weird that they cut away to that. But it's obvious that some people don't want us to know the truth. False flag? Yeah. I think that's a good possibility. Look, why is it that there's always a shooting right before something bad is about to happen for the deep state? They know it's coming. They know dang well what's coming. There's an avalanche of information. OIG reports coming out, D-Class is coming out. People are going to have access to a ton of information, and they're going to want everyone's attention on something else. They don't want you looking at these documents. They do not want you plowing through that. They don't want you doing your own research. They want you to be distracted and look at the shootings and look at this, and let's have discussions on Twitter about gun control for the next 2 weeks because there was another shooting. They want you to be focused on something else. And I'm not biting on it. I am getting myself ready for these documents to come out. And I think we all need to be ready for an avalanche of information. It's going to be it's not just, yay, we're getting a bunch of information. We need to know how to make sense of it. We need to know how to interpret it correctly. That is going to be the challenge over the next probably 4 or 5 months, during the summer into the fall. We have to learn what to do with this information. Be praying for the president. He's going to be spending some time abroad, so we need to be in prayer for the president. Why does the deep state still exist? It has existed for a long time, but it is being dismantled. The deep state rogue actors are being removed from government and places of power. And we are going to be seeing mass arrests very soon. It's coming. What about Obama? Obama's going to be arrested. So will Hillary, if she makes it that long. Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Susan Rice, Ben Rhodes, Yates, Loretta Lynch, they're all going to be arrested. They're all going down. D-Class. When do I expect D-Class? I don't know. That is a good question. I don't know when to expect the first documents to come out, but when they come out, they're going to be an avalanche. And in addition to the D-Class, Inspector General's report on FISA abuse, we also have all of those transcripts of congressional testimony that the DNI and the intelligence community has been working on for the last, I think, 8 months. I believe there are 53 more transcripts of congressional testimony that are going to be coming out. And we're going to have to plow through those and make sense of them. And thank God we have Q, because I can't read. The last group of, 8 or 9 transcripts of congressional testimony was over like 1,500 pages. Well, I don't have the time to read through all that stuff myself. So we're going to have to collaborate and work together and realize that some people are going to be plowing through some things. I look at the thread makers on Twitter, and I know that they're plowing through all these documents. They're plowing through the Mueller investigation. They're looking, they know what to look for. So I rely on them. I have certain things that I'm interested in, but we're going to be getting just a ton of information. We must remember to enjoy our lives through this. Yes, that is true. Enjoy life. Don't get stressed out about this. Don't fall for clickbait, and don't listen to the fake news. I don't know about Paige, and Paige is a cooperating witness. What deal she's going to get for cooperating, I don't know. What the thing is, when you cooperate with a federal investigation, when you have been charged with a crime and you cooperate with a federal investigation, you sign a guilty plea. That is what a lot of people don't understand. General Flynn, when he was brought into the Mueller investigation, he signed a guilty plea to lying to the FBI. He signed a guilty plea, and then he cooperated with the investigation. At the end of the investigation, when you are done giving testimony, when you're done giving all the information that you can give them, then the prosecutor writes a sentencing memo to the judge who oversees your case, and the prosecutor recommends a certain sentence for you. The sentencing recommendation is based on your cooperation with the investigation. So when you go into one of these federal investigations, you sign a guilty plea on the front end of the investigation. And all that's going to be determined is what your sentence is going to be based on your cooperation. Now, think about this. Bill Priestap, James Baker, Strzok, Page, Bruce Orr, all these people in the deep state, in the FBI and DOJ, have all been cooperating witnesses. What does that mean? They signed guilty pleas on the front end of the investigation. And the only thing that's going to be determined is what their sentence is when they're done. And a lot of people kind of forget that. Now, I wrote an article 6 months ago saying, what if the arrests have already happened? People are waiting for these people to be arrested. Well, I got news for you. They've already signed guilty pleas. It's not a question of when are they going to be arrested. They've already signed a guilty plea. They entered into the investigation, and now they're cooperating. They're cooperating because they want to get a light sentence. When they're going to be arrested is irrelevant. They've already signed admitted guilt. So if you think they're not going to be taken down, they've already admitted to their guilt, so don't worry about that. You can look at General Flynn is a really good example. Papadopoulos is a good example. Manafort. All the people in the Mueller investigation, they all signed guilty pleas, and then they cooperated with the investigation, and their sentence was based on how much they cooperated. That's how this works. Oh, I should mention this. I'm not on Parler, by the way. People have been asking. Not on Parler. I do not parlez-vous français. 0 Hour set up a fake account on Parler, and he is taking people's money through his PayPal account. So no.
Your image.
Yeah, he's got my image, my information, and he's got his own PayPal link, and he is grifting on Parler as me. I'm not on Parler, so don't follow that account. When are Brendan Dilley and I going to be doing a show? That's a good question. We'll do another one soon. Probably on a Saturday night. Need to look at the schedule, and Denise and I have been really busy lately, but we'll do another one really soon. I don't know what is going to happen while the president is overseas, but I am asking people to pray for him. How are the books coming? Books are coming really well. I'm going through the final draft of the novel manuscript, just putting some finishing touches on some of the dialogue and the narrative and punctuation and spelling, things like that. And that book will be out soon. Q books are doing really well. I expect we'll have our first Q book out in maybe a month or so. We still are working on the cover design for the first one. We'll have the cover design for the first one, and then all the rest that follow in the series will be similar to that. So we have to get it right the first time. About Julian Assange, interesting thing. Honey, we had a woman from Norway who sent me a dream. And did she say she had 7 dreams in a row about Assange being poisoned? And this was some time ago. So in the last 2 weeks, she had like 7 dreams in a row where she saw Assange being poisoned. And I suspect that there are some evil people who don't want Assange to be able to testify. So I would be praying for Julian Assange. Mike Pence, well, hey, President Trump announced that he is going to be running again with Mike Pence. And my position is, if the president trusts Mike Pence, I trust Mike Pence. I trust whoever the president trusts. So I have no problems with Mike Pence. I think he's a patriot. I think he's a good Christian man. I do not believe any of the nonsense on the YouTubers out there who are talking trash about Mike Pence. I don't believe any of it. I think a day is coming when those people are going to feel very silly about the things they've said about Mike Pence. I think if Pence was a problem, Trump would have got rid of him a long time ago. Oh, the envelope at the funeral for the Bushes and Pence. I have no idea. Nobody knows what was in those envelopes. Nobody knows what it said. Nobody knows why Pence got an envelope. Nobody knows what happened to Bush. Nobody knows. I don't know. You don't know. And I really wish people would stop asking those questions. No one is going to know what was in those envelopes. And if Alex Jones or somebody else tells you they know what's in those envelopes, they're lying. They don't know. And I don't know, and you're not going to know. So stop wondering about it. It doesn't matter. Let's get back to making America great again and stop wondering what was in those stupid envelopes. It doesn't matter, and you're never going to know. Who do I think Q is? Q is probably a team of patriots. People very close to the president. People really good with intelligence, NSA types, military intelligence. You can figure it out from there. I don't want to dox Q, as people say.
Well, we don't know either.
We don't know. I don't know. I have my own thoughts, but I should probably keep them to myself on this one. Q is all over the globe. After Q pointed out that that tweet about Q being known in Japan, I had a bunch of Q followers from Japan started following me on Twitter. I have had quite a few, but I had a lot more. And this one woman wrote to me and said, hey, I'm a blogger in Japan on a very, very popular blogging platform in Japan. And they have tens of thousands of followers on their Q blog. She just writes about Q. And they have thousands and thousands of followers. Q is very big in Japan. I could be Q. No, I couldn't. I do not. I don't have the headspace, the intelligence, the time. No, I could not be Q. I have a hard time keeping up with Q's posts sometimes. After all this is done, will Q come out? I think at the end, we will know who Q is, who the team is, I think. Okay, why didn't Huber show up at the December hearing? I'll tell you. All right. You guys know I don't have any sources. I've never claimed to have intelligence, insiders, sources, stuff like that. However, I do have one person, and I don't want to say too much about this person other than to say they have information, a little bit of information about what's happening in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Utah. And that's all I'm going to say about it. That person told me before the congressional hearing in December that Huber was not going to show up, that the DOJ did not want Huber to show up, and they were trying to make sure Huber wasn't going to be there. They were essentially running interference to make sure Huber did not get a subpoena from Congress. Because, as I said on my last broadcast, anything that is given to Congress gets leaked. And is leaked to the disadvantage of the president. So this person told me that the DOJ was intentionally trying to keep Huber from testifying because they didn't want any of the information in his investigation being made public, and they damn sure didn't want Congress to know about it until it's all over. So this person told me before the hearing that Huber was not going to be there, and said DOJ is intentionally trying to run interference so he doesn't get subpoenaed. All right, that is what I was told before the December hearing. That's why I was telling people on broadcast Huber's not going to be there. Go back to my broadcast from December, and you'll hear me saying Huber is not going to show up at the congressional hearings. He isn't going to be there. Because someone told me he wasn't going to be there. And that's all I can tell you about that. Will the CIA be shut down? Q has indicated that the CIA is going to be shut down. It is going to be dismantled. It is too corrupt to be cleaned, and operations are going to be transferred to the NSA. And I think Gina Haspel is overseeing the dismantling of the CIA. I think the reason it took Trump a year to find a CIA director, a permanent one, was he needed to find somebody who would go along with their plan to dismantle the CIA. Haspel is not slow-walking information to Barr. That is fake news. Barr said in this interview that the intel agency heads are cooperating with him. So why are people saying that Wray and Haspel are not cooperating with Barr? Barr said they're cooperating with him. Fake news. Wray is not slow-walking anything. He is not. Now, there are people, even people on Fox, who are saying that Wray is not cooperating with Barr. But Barr himself said Wray is cooperating and the intelligence heads are cooperating with him. So if Barr is not telling us that he has a problem, why are we repeating that nonsense? The UFO is a distraction? I do not think so. All right, let's talk about UFOs. Because I brought that up briefly in yesterday's broadcast, but I forgot. I had so many things to cover. I didn't really want to. I kind of forgot about it. So I do not follow the UFO alien thing very closely. I don't watch YouTube channels that talk about that stuff. However, if you're interested, if you're interested in UFOs from a Christian perspective, chrismichaels.com, Chris Michaels, MICHALS.com, has some, I think, pretty good information on that subject. Chris is retired Air Force. He was Air Force intelligence, and he is very prophetic, and God has given him a lot of information about space program, propulsion for intergalactic spacecraft, stuff like that. He has a lot of good information. I would definitely recommend checking out Chris Michaels. Jordan Sather has been on Twitter talking about the UFOs. And he studies that stuff, and he is really into that. I am not into that much. But one of Jordan Sather's main subjects of interest is UFOs and aliens. Okay, so if you want to follow that stuff, that's fine. I don't. But Jordan has been talking about an email that came out in the Podesta WikiLeaks dump, where Podesta was talking about UFOs and a mass deception that they were planning to distract people in the event that some big bad event was going to happen for them. They were going to use UFOs as a distraction. All right. Now, those people are not in power. Hillary and Podesta and Obama are no longer in power. Trump is in power, and the military is in power. So that little plan that they had, I don't think is going to come to fruition. What I think all the discussion about UFOs in all the mainstream media now is talking about it is I believe the government has had a secret space program for a long time. Unacknowledged special access programs. We have been doing a lot of space exploration, I believe. There's been a ton of money dumped into it. Q said, $10,000 for a hammer? Where do you think the money's really going? When the Defense Department charges $10,000 for a hammer, they buy a $20 hammer and they take $9,080 and spend it on something else. Probably an unacknowledged special access program that Congress doesn't know about. Congress, if you have an unacknowledged special access program, Congress doesn't know about it, doesn't do oversight of it, and is not funding it officially. So what the Defense Department does is when they fund unacknowledged programs, they charge exorbitant prices for something, and they take all that money that's appropriated and they spend it on something else that Congress doesn't know about. All right? They have all these black ops, secret programs that are funded through Congress paying for one thing and the money is used for other things. All right? That's just how the thing works. I believe we have been spending an exorbitant amount of money on space research, on space travel, and I think Trump's announcement of the Space Force is a slow, sneaky way of red-pilling average people about what we've been doing for a long time. They're going to announce discoveries, they're going to announce, oh, we found this and we discovered that, and no, we're doing this, and we've been doing it for a long time, but they're just going to slowly roll that stuff out. That is what I believe this whole thing is about. The Air Force changing its reporting of UFOs, changing its protocols for pilots engaging UFOs, things of that nature. It's all coming out in the mainstream media. There's not going to be any more secrets. Q has told us that Trump wants transparency. They don't want any more secrets. They're going to be rolling all this stuff out, making it public, but they have to do it slowly because a lot of people won't be able to swallow it. And I know a lot of Christians are going to have heartache over this because when they look in the Bible, they only see fallen angels and demons. And if you talk to them about alien life forms on other planets, they say, oh, you mean demons? Or are you talking about fallen angels? It's got to be one of those two. Well, they can't even in their mind consider the possibility that there are other life forms on other planets that are not fallen angels and are not demons. And I got news for you, folks. There very likely are alien life forms on other planets that are not fallen angels and not demons. All right. And I know there's a whole lot of people who are concerned. Oh, we're in the end times. It's the last days deception. They're going to deceive the world. They're going to deceive everybody. They're going to have demons and they're going to be like convincing everyone that they need to worship a different God. And well, look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I've never been a conspiracy theorist. And I do understand the eschatology, the view of eschatology, the view of the end times of those people. I became a Christian reading Left Behind. I read the entire 12 books in the Left Behind series. So I understand dispensational premillennialism. I understand all of that. But there are a lot of different viewpoints of eschatology. There's futurism, there's preterism, there's partial preterism, there's dispensationalism, a lot of different views of the future that are all biblical. And I have studied eschatology quite a bit, and I don't know that anyone who currently has what I think is a correct, accurate view of the future from a biblical standpoint. I think there are many possibilities, and I don't know that anyone's pinned it down yet. I have my own theories, my own views on the future and the end times and the last days and all that. So I'm not too worried about last days deception because, in fact, I think the world is getting a lot better. Look, a lot of the current views of the future, views of the end times eschatology, is based on this realization that wars were increasing. World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, and then all was worse. And people developed kind of a view of the future, just assuming that, oh, the nuclear age is here. We've got nuclear bombs now. It's only going to be a matter of 10 or 15 years before the world is over. We're just going to destroy the earth with nuclear weapons, right? So people developed a view of the future and the end times based on the assumption that we would eventually just blow ourselves up, and that would be the end of it. And we'd go into the new age and the new millennial kingdom and whatever else. And interestingly enough, if you study history, and I mean study real history, not fake news history, we have actually been in a 75-year of relative peace. We have been. Wars and death and from all sources, and particularly death from violence and war, peaked around 1945, at the end of World War II. Yes, we have had small wars in various places, but death tolls and destruction and human suffering has all declined ever since the end of World War II. We have been in a 75-year period, which is a relative time of peace. Yes, there have been small wars, but nothing like the scale of World War I or World War II. And people are still living from a view of eschatology that was built during those times of the world wars. And we're past that. And look, now we have Trump, and he's drawing down troops, and he's ending all these stupid wars. If Trump manages to get rid of the deep state, if Trump manages to get rid of the Rothschilds, George Soros, and all the people that are funding wars, and if Trump manages to destroy this globalist agenda, he is going to destroy the New World Order. The other reason why this eschatology, this view of the end times came up, is people saw the rise of the New World Order, right? You see increasing wars, you see the rise of the New World Order, the thriving of these bankster trillionaires who are controlling everything. And you just sort of draw out in the future, oh, well, the one world government's coming, Satan's going to rule everything, and the world's going to end, and it's all going to go crashing down. Well, the rule of the banksters is coming to an end. The deep state is being gutted, and I believe Trump is going to defund all of them, destroy the New World Order, destroy the globalist agenda, and he is going to be very successful in destroying and eliminating all of that stuff that's been built over the last 100 years. I have been telling people Trump's presidency and what he is doing on a geopolitical scale should make every one of you go back to the Bible and look again at your understanding of the end times, the last days, or your view of the future. Because Trump is putting an end to a lot of the things that cause people to develop that view of the end times. And look, read the book of Revelation. Read the book of Revelation from start to finish. And put out of your mind every sermon, every book, and every commentary you've ever read on the future. And just read the book of Revelation from start to finish. And you tell me what view of the future you come up with just reading the book of Revelation. Because I guarantee you, if you just read the book of Revelation without any commentary from anyone, you would not come up with any of the views that are currently being taught in the church. Look, I've read Revelation 1,000,000 times, and it is incredibly difficult to come up with a cohesive view of the future just simply reading the book of Revelation without any commentary. It is a highly symbolic book. You don't know if that stuff has happened in the past, has it happened in the future, what's past, what is symbolic, what is literal. It is very difficult to come to a clear, cohesive understanding of the future from the book of Revelation, outside of what people have been taught by their pastors and through reading commentaries and stuff. And I read a lot of commentaries over the years, and I gave up on them because they don't help. Anyway, you asked. We are going to look. I had this dream back before Trump was elected, and in the dream, I saw that people had a choice between Trump and another person. I don't know who the person was in the dream. The election was, I think this is August of 2016. And I saw a world, I walked into it, that would happen if people voted for Trump, right? So I saw these choices. You can either vote for Trump, you can vote for someone else. And for people who voted for Trump, I stepped into another dimension, another world. And it felt like I was in the future. In this world, there was no poverty, no homelessness, no lack, no suffering. I looked around and there was lavish abundance everywhere for everyone. There was no lack, no poverty, no homelessness. Everybody was thriving and everybody was blessed. All right? That was a world I saw that was possible if people voted for Trump. Okay, and I saw that I had a dream before Trump was elected. I was in this experience and I literally thought, this is what it would be like if heaven was on earth. Because I literally felt like this is heaven on earth. No sickness, no disease, no poverty, no lack of anything. It was just abundance, total abundance. And like I said, I think Trump's presidency should make every person go back to the Bible and read the prophetic books, Daniel, the book of Revelation, and get a different understanding. Because if he takes on the deep state, if he destroys the globalist agenda, if he gets rid of the Rothschilds and all these corrupt people, we have a completely different system. They have been pilfering, robbing, and stealing our wealth for decades. And what happens when all those corrupt people are jailed and now all that wealth is returned to the people? You don't need socialism after that. When you have people that have robbed trillions of dollars in wealth and that is returned to the people, you don't need socialism. Socialism is a philosophy of lack. It is a political viewpoint that is based on lack of anything. And it's really a philosophy of greed. You look at other people who have something and you're greedy and you want what they have, but you can't have it and you don't have enough. So you think everyone's wealth should be redistributed. Well, what if we just took the wealth from the corrupt people and gave it back to the society? You wouldn't need socialism. And there is poverty and suffering because of the corrupt people that are in power. And Trump is going to remove them all from power. So I think we have a very good chance of eliminating wide-scale poverty. And you know, it's crazy too, because all these liberal cities, Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, where liberals have been entrenched in politics for a long time. What is happening in those cities? More poverty, more homelessness, more addiction. Life sucks under these so-called progressive liberal agendas. And sooner or later, those people are going to get sick of that. And they're going to look at Trump and go, you know, whatever Trump touches seems to turn to gold. People are blessed, they're wealthy, they're happy, they're healthy. It's only going to be a matter of time before society wakes up. And I have not given up on California. Make California great again. I think, like everything, people in California are going to get fed up and sick with the corruption, the waste of taxpayer money, the homelessness, the drug abuse, the alcoholism, the mental health issues, all the society rot, high taxes, high property, just everything. I think Californians are going to get sick of it, and they're going to come to the end of it, and they're going to say, you know what? Because the pendulum swings back and forth. And the pendulum has swung very far to the left to the progressive agenda in California. And the fruit of that philosophy is coming around, and people are not going to like it very much longer. And they're going to have a massive swing back in the direction of conservatism. I think California is ripe to have a conservative revival because they're going to destroy that state. it'll go bankrupt. Homelessness will get worse. Poverty will get worse. More drugs, more alcohol, more, crime. And eventually the people will get sick of it and they'll have a revolution. That's what's happening in Europe. They let it go. They pushed it as far as they could to the left. People got sick and fed up with it, and they're like, nope, we're going back the other way. And it'll happen in California. California's going to have a revival. And we're going to need good, common sense, loving, compassionate conservatives to move to California when that happens. Yes, we are. I have not written California off, and neither has God. All right, that is it. I'm going to get going. Got to finish drinking my coffee. First, I have to warm it up, probably. Keep the president in prayer. Keep Denise and I in prayer. Keep Q and the team in prayer. Love you all. I will catch you on the next broadcast.